I am Deantha Edmunds. I am Canada's first Inuk professional classical singer. Atilihai means welcome. It's like a greeting. Deantha Vunga. I am Deantha, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be part of Rhythms of the Land and all the joy and goodness that it has brought into the world. Nakumik means thank you. I was first approached about Rhythms of the Land by Georgina Liberty and Janelle Liederman from the Office of the Commissioner of Indigenous Languages. And I was absolutely honored and delighted that they invited me to participate in this really important and beautiful project. I immediately thought of this magnificent sculpture by Inuk artist Billy Gauthier, who is also from Inuktitut, the north coast of Labrador, which is the ancestral homeland of Labrador Inuit, from where my father came. And Billy's sculpture, The Earth, Our Mother, it is breathtaking. And I thought of what that sculpture said to me the first time I saw it. And I was inspired to create a new work for Rhythms of the Land in response to Billy's sculpture. And so I spoke with Janelle and I just said, look, I've got this idea to write a new piece for this project. And they were all for it, and I got permission from Billy and the rooms, of course, where The Earth, Our Mother is housed. And it took off. It was really important to me because I thought about how language and land are so connected, and how our mother tongue and the Mother Earth, it makes us who we are as Inuit, Indigenous people in general. You know, the connection to land it's lifeblood. It's so important. And language is something that is very meaningful for me as a singer. I grew up on the west coast of Newfoundland in a beautiful town called Corner Brook. And my father, Albert Edmunds, who passed away 8 years ago, he and my mom raised us in Corner Brook in a home full of music. Every Christmas Eve, he would sing Christmas carols to us in German, Inuktitut, and English, as he learned them as a child in Hopedale, in Inuktitut. And so this would be the first time that I heard music sung in Inuktitut, was in my dad's voice. One of our goals was always to work on the language together. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do that while he was alive. He did teach us certain prayers and songs and sayings in Inuktitut, but I always had a hunger for learning the language. As a classical singer, I sing in many different languages from a very young age, in choir, in church, in my private singing lessons. You know, Latin, German, French, Spanish, Italian. German was one of my favorites. And it is an absolute honor to be able to sing in Inuktitut. This is one of the ways that I'm actually working on learning the language, through singing in Inuktitut. Living in Newfoundland and Labrador is so important to me. A lot of times people think East Coast and they go as far as Toronto or Montreal, but there's so much more happening beyond that. People say the Maritime provinces, but that actually doesn't include Newfoundland and Labrador. You have to say the Atlantic provinces to include Newfoundland and Labrador. And then people always say Newfoundland, but our province is Newfoundland and Labrador. And I'm really blessed to have a foot in both places, you know, my roots and my home. So Inuit made this music something completely unique in the world. And it's something so beautiful and speaks to Inuit agency in the face of colonialism. So as a composer and a classical singer, to be able to write and study the language, to share Inuktitut on my singing voice, on my breath, is something very powerful. And whenever I do perform in Inuktitut, I feel at the same time more grounded and more uplifted in a way that I can't really describe. It's very difficult to. I've tried to in different interviews, but it is an absolute connection to my ancestors. And it has been a way for me to actually grieve after losing my father, singing and writing in the language, which I also work on with my teenage daughter, Annabelle, who performs with me as well. Losing my dad, of course, was very sad. Losing him changed all of us in so many ways. And I think because at that time I was really starting to sing more in Inuktitut. So he did get to hear me sing some of the church music from Inuktitut in Inuktitut before he passed. And every time I stepped on stage to sing that music, I thought of him and I felt him with me. And I still do when I am writing. Whenever I'm doing that, I'm thinking of Dad and thinking about how much he would have enjoyed that, because he loved languages as well. It makes me sad that he isn't here on this earth to experience this, but I know that he's with me while we're doing that. Inuktitut Inuit have been working for decades on creating their own orthography, because, of course, all dialects of Inuktitut are different across Inuit Nunangat. And so Inuktitut has a very unique history, actually, of language, because the Moravian missionaries were with them so long ago. This will be a good place for me to actually say, of course, the missionaries took a lot from us. The sacred traditions, spirituality, throat singing, drum dancing, shamanism. Thankfully, these traditions have been revived and reclaimed and are celebrated. And in my composing, I actually try to use throat singing in some of my classical songs as well, because I like to acknowledge the fact that before there was church music, before there was opera, before there was classical singing, there was throat singing for thousands and thousands of years. So to me, it's really important to include those beautiful voices in my music. But the missionaries did teach Inuit reading and writing in their language. So it's very different, because we have a different connection to our language in Inuktitut. Because I didn't grow up there, learning this language means a lot to me personally, because it is my work. It is such a big part of who I am and what I want to see out there, celebrating the language, the culture, the traditions that we lost, that we've reclaimed, that we've always had, that we created. And language revitalization is hugely important. It's vital to our culture, to our children's future. So while I may not be a fluent speaker yet, I'm working towards that with my daughter so that she will carry that language with her as well. I'm really lucky to have grown up with that. But it was my private music teachers and my school choir directors that introduced me to classical singing. And from a really young age, like age 8, I remember singing in the choir and singing the really high soprano notes and feeling like I was just floating, and it just felt like nothing. And this, something I recognized early on, I remember talking about it as a teenager, and I still feel this way today. When I'm on stage singing, I feel like I'm my most authentic self. I feel like there's no mask, there's no barriers, it's just me. It's all me, vibrating on a different level and putting that out into the world. And there's no better feeling. There's no better feeling. So singing these high notes, singing in different languages, oh my gosh, it just felt so incredible. It's really a dream, and it's something that I am grateful for every single day. So when projects like Rhythms of the Land come up to celebrate Indigenous language through music, what an opportunity to share my voice and my spirit and my hopes, to show you can sing or make music of any genre in our language, and it's going to carry. If you don't understand the language, feel it. Sense where we are sending it out to you from and what we are saying. Listen to us and amplify it. Because what we as Indigenous artists have to say and have to contribute is immeasurable. It is through art that so much good can come and so much change can come. And through music especially, there is a song and a genre of music for everyone at whatever stage of life they're in or whatever event they're going through. There's always a song. And I encourage people to open their minds and open their hearts and their ears to listen to all different genres of music, because while you may not be an opera aficionado, maybe you've never been to the opera, maybe you don't like the sound of the orchestra, have a listen, because you never know what you can learn and what you can take from it. Collaborating with non-Indigenous musicians is also really important to me, actually, because when I create, I think it is a lot about communication. I think we learn and grow from each other as artists in that way. And there aren't a lot of Inuit classical musicians yet. There are some coming up through, and that's really exciting. But being able to collaborate with world-class musicians for this piece was just so fun. It was so fun. So when we recorded the video here at the Rooms with Billy's sculpture, and the percussion that Rob Power set up, oh my gosh. It was exactly what I had hoped for when I conceived of the piece. And I really hope that they came through to the listeners and to the people who watched. And it's a piece that I actually learned a lot about myself from. We had a family watch party when it premiered, and every single artist was so wonderful. It was such a unique program of different music, different artists all across the country, out on the land. Oh my gosh, it was so exciting and so fun. It really was enjoyable. And I have heard from a lot of people of different backgrounds from all across the country and beyond, outside Canada, who just loved it. And I have gone back to watch the entire program a few different times. There's so much joy in it. There's so much pride. There's so much strength and hope and joy. Absolutely, yeah. It's really special, and I get asked about it a lot, actually, about my participation in it, and what a thrill it was for me as a classical musician to be part of something like that. I'm writing what will be the first opera in Inuktitut and in English, and I have many different projects, choral collaborations. I've met different Inuit, young Inuit classical singers who are studying in university, and it's so exciting at the thought of coming together to collaborate and support. I have been in touch with Inuit classical musicians across Inuit Nunat, Greenland, Alaska, and across Canada. And I dream of putting together a program of all Inuit classical musicians. And it will happen. It will happen.